Welcome to Studio Stories. My name is Andre Lett, publicly known as Dres the BEATnik. In short, I talk for a living. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm a tour host, event manager, and producer. And sometimes my opinions have some weight, but today it may not mean a motherfucking thing. What would you like to know? Sometimes it really depends on the environment and the circumstance, in my opinion. Collaboration is usually the harmonious work of a bunch of individuals working towards a common goal and finding success in reaching said goal. And sometimes collaboration is the meeting of souls who find some fucked up shit in life and figuring out how to make it better. And even in those failures, there's still success. Again, my opinion, and as I said, my opinion may not mean shit today. Oh boy. Well, I came to Atlanta, Georgia, in actually July of 1995. Independence Day was my Independence Day. Got here and tried to take stock of what Atlanta had to offer, just period. I got to Atlanta with $200 in my pocket and a mandate that I was never going to go back to Philadelphia. That took a lot. um, you know, I just happened to have come to a beautiful city at a beautiful time. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody today, especially in the way that this country and its economy works. But it took me a while, to kind of get my footing here and get used to the culture shock of being in Atlanta, from where I'm from, and just finding my way in it. Once I figured it out, I guess, a lot of it had to do with just not wanting to be where I wasn't welcomed. Worked a corporate job where it felt as if I was more tolerated than welcomed. And I got upset and I ended up suing my employer and settling at the 11th hour out of court and, using those funds to make sure I never worked for anybody ever again under their terms. And, we're talking almost, come April of 2027, that'll be 30 years of being what my grandfather likes to call a free range Negro. So that's been my journey. My thing is when I got involved in all of this, I just wanted to have a relationship with music. I grew up in the household with R&B, with gospel and with jazz. I didn't find hip hop until I was actually outside of the house. That was the soundtrack of my environment growing up, with all my friends and everything, and it just allowed me to be able to express myself in ways that I knew I couldn't in the confines of my household. And I grew up singing in choirs. We're talking like church choirs, school choirs, district choirs, playing in bands and orchestras and things like that. And it was good, but how many times can you, play the same sheet music, over and over again, and it does nothing for in here. And crafting, I guess what the world would call Dres the BEATnik. By the way, I'm not a fan of speaking of myself in third person, but in the crafting of this person, this persona, I just didn't want to be defined by rules. In high school growing up, my music teacher called me a beatnik kid because I dressed different from the rest of the kids in my class in my high school. And, as you guys heard, like literally about 5 minutes ago, my name is Andre Lett. So Dres just became what it was. You could tell what era I grew up in by my stage name. I'm not Lil or nothing like that. It's Dres the BEATnik. So that's it. And once again, just to kind of forward a little bit of being here in Atlanta, when I got here, I didn't see me here when I first got to Atlanta. So the main to do was to make it comfortable for not just myself. And I knew I knew that I wasn't by myself being here, you know, going to the AUC, Atlanta's a college town that happens to be in a metropolitan environment. And I knew that I'm very familiar with that being from Philadelphia. Philly is in the same way, very similar. It's a college town in a metropolitan area, you know, and I knew I wasn't the only one from out of town trying to figure out who you are, you know, and so just trying to just build spaces where people can feel safe and feel seen while still being able to create. And if you're able to create and you're safe and you're seen, then you can thrive. That's been my personal philosophy for 50 years now, and so far it hasn't let me down. Don't quit on yourself. It's easy. It's easy to quit on yourself. Like, quite honestly, I've seen people do it. Like the people that I started out in this realm, we all started out around the same time. They're all gone. I mean, like not 6 feet under up in the sky gone, although some are, but just, it ain't for me. I can't do it. There's other peer pressure. It's, I didn't think that was an excuse to quit, but here's an excuse to quit. So I'm out. But not to be so self-righteous about it, but it feels like on some level you're just disrespecting the purpose that God gave you. Like nobody's success story is overnight. That lasts. And I'll say that again. Nobody's success story that lasts comes overnight. It can be, you can get it today and it be gone today, or it can take you 5-10 years and then you get it and you live forever. But that's the risk that you have to take, and you gotta be willing to understand that the juice is worth the squeeze when it comes to the thing that you chose to do. But there are people, we see them all the time. We see people that they get in for the wrong reasons. They think, oh, it's the hot flashy thing to do. It's the thing of the day to do. And once they gotten what they wanted to get out of it, they're done. Like I had a colleague that I hate saying this story, but I was there. He got into it long enough to have his first foursome before he quit. He was doing shows. He did one show, and the show was a fucking flop. Here's the crazy part. The show was a flop, but something happened during the show where it set him up to have a foursome with this one chick and two of her girlfriends. And I catch up with him about 2 days later. I'm trying to console him because he lost his shirt. He like, man, that was the best fucking night of my life. I was like, how is this the best night of your life, man? He was like, no, you don't understand, man. I just had a foursome. I'm like, what do you? Shut up. And he was like, no. And I'm like, okay, great. You had sex with 3 women. It's good for you, Hugh Hefner. And he was like, nah, man, I'm out. We're like, what do you mean? Wait. What do you mean you out? He was like, that was the only reason I ever got involved in all this shit in the first place. I wanted to have sex with 3 women. Wait, so all them shows, all them parties, handing out flyers and all that, yeah, that was it. I reached the pinnacle of my life right now. Like, dude, you're only 24. I know. And he literally paid his tab and walked out the door. I'd never seen him again. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever witnessed in my life. A foursome forced that man out the game. But he came in with it. He had an agenda. He had a purpose. He had execution. He had presence of timing and wherewithal to understand where he was. And I'm out. Bravo. Just bravo. Yeah, man. Well, honestly, between me and you, I still don't know. Keep in mind, I'm a human beatboxer. All I do is introduce the motherfuckers on the stage. I tell everybody we all gonna be okay. And thank you for coming and good night. That's all I do. How we got here, I couldn't tell you. The easiest answer I think I could give is the answer the answer that my grandmother, Melvina Downing gave me. If you make everybody feel as if they're at home without going home, you've done your job. And so that's how I approach it anyway. Whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity at least to feel as if they're at home. They can relax, they can be themselves, they can have a good time, they can know that their hard-earned money didn't go to waste. I could care less what happened with the headline performer or the undercards or anything like that. As long as my contribution is earnest and honest, I can look in the mirror the next day or before I go to bed and know that I did a good job and that everybody felt comfortable. And if they feel comfortable, hopefully I'll be able to do it again. And so far, so good. I've been blessed to be able to do this over 23,000 times. And I don't take any of them for granted. I just know that I like to believe, anyway, that I got here from being able to give the world as big of a hug as possible and let everybody know it's all right. I've done this through an attack on our soil. I've done this through a pandemic. I've done this through recession. I've done this through racist times in our country's history. I've done this through some of the most horrific things that I wouldn't wish on anybody, and not just here. I've gotten the opportunity to travel without having to, join the military. And I've gotten an opportunity to be able to have this medium translate to different races, to different cultures, through different languages. Being an African-American man, having 5,000 people repeat what you say, that's an amazing feeling, especially when once you're done, they look at you like you're an anomaly because they don't know what the hell else is coming out of your mouth. But when that music is on, we're all here. And my relationship with music has been the greatest love affair that I've ever had in my entire life, outside of the birth of my only child. To the individual that's watching or listening over somebody's shoulder that's watching this on their phone or on a bus or train or plane, first things first, these are size 13. You'll never fit these. You will never fit these shoes. No matter how much you want it, how much you think you need it, you'll never be able to fit them. And that's fine, because my journey is not your journey, and your journey will never be my journey. However, there's so much to learn in wanting to do this. I mentioned earlier that you can't give up. Like, it's damn near like a blood oath. Once you start, you can't, it's blood in, blood out. It has to be in order for it to work. Because the only point and purpose of it is for it to work. It's not, maybe. We're not here for maybes and what ifs. Like, we're here for it to work. Plan. Like, don't be afraid to be a geek about it. Don't be afraid to be a nerd about it. Like, seriously, like, buckle down on your shit. Like, know everything about everything in regards to what you're about to walk into. Don't be afraid to speak to older people. There's a lot of people out here that are long in the tooth that are wanting to pull them out and hand this wisdom over. But they're not just going to hand it out just to hand it out. You got to ask. Know the questions you're going to ask when you come and have a conversation with one of the elders. You have to know, like, my generation in this, part of our problem was that we didn't talk to nobody. We were so cavalier about it. I'm not asking nobody shit. I'm just gonna bump my head. I'm gonna get up, check for blood. No blood, keep going. It's only after we got old in it, we start to figure out and wonder, well, how come nobody's asking us? How come nobody's asking us what it's like? Oh yeah, we never asked anybody else. So all of us old heads, which we are now, there's some of us that whine, cry, bitch and moan about the state of things with regards to this hip hop that we all grew up and loved. The biggest problem is we never made ourselves available. So we knew we knew the music that we were making in our day. We knew what it spoke to. Like, we knew that we made music that spoke to the pride of who we are. And then we also knew that we made music that spoke to the detriment and destruction of who we are too. It wasn't all, it definitely wasn't all cake and ice cream. For every A Tribe Called Quest, you had an NWA. We knew that, but there was some sort of symbiotic balance in it all. We don't have that anymore. Like, how can I put it? There's a lot of young people out here that grew up with breadcrumbs that swear that they know how to make bread. You don't know how to make bread, you just know how to eat crumbs. So all you're worried about is how to get to the next batch of crumbs. I would like to think that if you just took the time out to pull some of us to the side and have a conversation with us, or how about this? Having us and allowing us as elders to encourage and foster having pride in who we are as people to these youngins and uplift them to want better. I'm a girl dad of a black child, bro. I'm so tired of eyelashes or minks. I shouldn't know what the fuck that is, but I do, because I'm a girl dad. My kids should know how to do more than twerk. Thank goodness she does. But she, like, I see it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's because it's not made for me. So I got to grin and bear it until somebody wants to have a conversation with me about it. Because as the elder in the room, sometimes it's best to lead from behind as opposed to leading out in front. I can't tell you what to do. I can make a suggestion, but you really want to hear my thoughts and opinions about it, then you'll talk to me and ask me about my thoughts and opinions about it. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would rather a young person sit and talk with me. I've seen a lot. I've been able to do it without incident. Like my I say I'm the most non-rapper with a record that I know. I've been to jail, sure, but I ain't been to jail. And thank goodness I ain't been to jail. You know, I just know what to avoid and what to keep away from. And I want to be able to give that to you. I don't want any money for it. I'll make my money. I can, what Jay-Z say, put me on God's green earth, I'll triple my worth. I've done that. I can show you how to do it too, but we gotta want to talk to each other. So I am a plethora of information that is waiting to be tapped into. Well, I don't know how far and wide this stretches, but currently I'm a national tour host for Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey Art Beats and Lyrics Tour. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary as being the country's largest urban art exhibition the world has ever seen. I like saying that. Also, you can see our documentary on Hulu currently, on Hulu and YouTube. Just search Art Beats and Lyrics. Pardon the ums and everything. We'll fix it in post. But I also I'm in the home stretch of surviving kidney disease. So I am currently on the transplant list. I've been approved for an organ. After 8 years of going through this, I'm finally in a position where I can see some light at the end of the tunnel. Also, I've promised myself that when I beat this thing, I will dedicate a good portion of my time to tapping into my inner child, if you will. So August 17th, I'm about to have the first of 4 adult play dates in the city of Atlanta. This first one will be a citywide water gun fight day. And that's on August 17th at historic Fourth Ward Park. And yeah, I have a water gun fight in August, pillow fight in October. I have a snowball fight in December, and I'll leave the last one alone for a minute. But that's what I'm planning on doing. As far as what I do philanthropically, a good portion of my money goes to the American Kidney Association. People have definitely helped me out when I needed it, and my job is to now pay it forward. So if you know or have anyone in your circle that is going through kidney disease, just remind them that they're not alone, and remind them that they're not a burden, because they will feel like they are a burden. A person's pride will get questioned when you're facing something like this, and they'll get through it as long as they're allowed to still be human. That's what it is for me. You can always find me online at DresBeatnik.com. That's It's like, Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything. And if that doesn't work, then hashtag follow that. So, in closing, thank y'all for sitting and listening to my studio story. I hope to see you guys out there. I can't front. I'm at this stage of my life. I am probably more emotional than I probably should be. So I'm all about handshakes, hugs, and a good cry. So don't be afraid of any of that. And I'll see you out there. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I love you.